Good morning, it's James. It's wonderful to see you today. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your energy. I'm deeply grateful to have the honor and the blessing of laying eyes on you, and I do hope and pray that this message finds you and all the people that you love peaceful, thriving, and very, very well. So this morning, my wife and I, Deborah, were talking about some of the things that we believe so deeply in, and some of the things that have given us permission and an opportunity to have a pretty tremendous 30 plus years of being married, raising two amazing young women, and finding ourselves each and every day doing some of the things that really allow us to feel so connected. And I think one of the things we were so connected to was this discussion this morning around how the values that we begin with are continuing in our life. You know, I think that one of the things that we have learned in our relationship, and that is that we have always been valued centered, and the values that we hold very core personally have beautiful overlap in our relationship. And I think this is a really difficult time for a lot of people who maybe you have family members, maybe there's people who you have an intimate relationship, and over time, maybe values have changed. People have evolved or gone in directions you go, you know what? Man, this is really hard. I don't share that value. In fact, the values I share are deeply contrasting to the person who I love, someone in my family, someone I've been with. And what do we do in situations like that? Well, that's a deeply personal choice as to whether or not we can tolerate, we can accept, or we absolutely cannot. And we have to find a path of navigating or negotiating or figuring out how do we continue to be together, or how do we continue to honor ourselves when values have changed? And this is obviously a deeply personal subject for every single one of us. But I think today, what I would love for you to consider, and if you're in a relationship or you have family members that you are presently being challenged by, I think it's a very important and deeply critical practice to honor your values. I've seen a ton of research out there when we give ourselves away by not honoring our values and find ourselves feeling depressed, anxious, angry, losing ourselves, finding ways to put ourselves in places where judgment and really leaving ourselves in such a way that we start to lose value of ourselves. Our self-esteem, our self-confidence starts to erode. And the obvious thing is that living our values has probably never been more important to our country, more important to our world. And I'm a big believer, and this is me coming in with some optimism and some hope, and I'm owning it. But I think all of us would agree, when we live our values, things like trust, things like love, things like honesty, things like humility and grace and courage, it becomes a beautifully attractive quality. And it's not in a way that we're trying to convince someone that our way is the best way. If our way is deeply connected to our heart, which I think all values that are deep and real are connected to our heart, that's when they become beautifully contagious. And when we live them, there's a great saying that your actions speak so loudly, I cannot hear what you're saying. I've been thinking a lot about living my values, not necessarily expressing them and saying, people, this is what I believe and this is what it's all about for me. I do that, but I'm doing even more of living my values. I'm doing very much intentional work on living my trust, living my honesty, living my love, living my acceptance, living in a way that my values are being expressed without me saying anything at all. I think the world right now is in need of beautiful values being lived, being dedicated to, being expressed, being demonstrated to the degree that no one could make a mistake about how much you care, how much you love, how much you're willing to put goodness in the world, and know that that value is absolutely what you stand upon and stand for. And I'm a big believer that we find community in these values of expression. We find community and we find confirmation. And in that confirmation, I believe we can create change. Change where all beings have an opportunity to being valued in a way that the central values are where all beings are honored and thrived, and all rights and justices are being fully honored as well. The rights that we hold so dear being absolutely expressed in the values that we lead and love. I hope this landed. It's a lot to unpack, and I may not have done it very well, but I hope you know in my heart, I'm doing the best I can. And I know in my heart, you are too. Let's continue. Much love. Every blessing. Bye for now.